What if I told you that helping your adult child buy a house could cost you over $250,000 in lost retirement security? Last month, a 64-year-old woman came to me devastated. She'd just withdrawn $80,000 from her 401k to help her son with a down payment. She thought she was being a good mother, but here's what she didn't know. That single decision just pushed her own retirement back by 7 years, triggered massive tax penalties, and eliminated nearly 30% of her nest egg's growth potential. A recent study tracking 1,200 boomer parents found that those who gave major financial help for home purchases were 3.2 times more likely to face financial hardship in retirement. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why this happens and the boundary conversation that protects both your future and your relationship with your kids. Let me tell you more about Margaret. 3 months ago, she was sitting at her kitchen table with a mortgage calculator open on her laptop, tears streaming down her face. Her son, Michael, is 32. He has a solid job as an engineer, a good salary, but housing prices in their area have exploded. He mentioned casually one Sunday dinner that he'd been saving for years and still couldn't touch a down payment that made sense. Margaret remembered buying her first house at 25 for $60,000. It seemed so simple back then. She had the money sitting in her 401k. Michael didn't ask for it. She offered. The thought running through her mind was crystal clear. I have it. He needs it. What kind of mother would I be if I said no? There was pride in that moment. Real pride. She was helping her son achieve the American dream. But 3 months later, the property tax bill arrived, and Margaret realized with cold, creeping dread that she couldn't pay it. Not without pulling from savings she'd earmarked for health care. Michael has no idea. She's too ashamed to tell him. Here's the thing. Margaret's not alone, and this isn't about bad parenting. This is about a perfect storm of cultural pressure, market reality, and retirement math that nobody explained to our generation. So what's really happening here? The data is sobering. Here's what the research shows. That study I mentioned in the opening tracked 1,200 boomer parents over 8 years who gave significant financial help to adult children for home purchases. The findings should make every parent pause. 43% of those who gave $50,000 or more completely depleted their emergency funds within just 2 years. Think about that. 2 years. The average gift amount was $73,000. And here's the kicker. Most of these were presented as loans that were never, ever repaid. 67% of these parents triggered early withdrawal penalties from retirement accounts, averaging between $18,000 and $22,000 in penalties alone. But the real damage? The lost compound growth over the next 10 years ranged from $180,000 to $250,000, depending on market performance. That's not the money you gave. That's the money that money would have made for you. The numbers don't lie. A Federal Reserve study on intergenerational wealth transfers found that boomer parents transferred over $500 billion to adult children, specifically for housing, between 2018 and 2023. And 71% of those parents reported that this single decision significantly impacted their retirement timeline. Most common age for making this transfer? Between 62 and 67. The exact window when you should be protecting every dollar you have. This is the part that shocks most people. An AARP survey revealed that 1 in 3 retirees wishes they hadn't given large financial sums to their adult children. But here's the twist. 80% said they'd do it again anyway because of guilt and cultural expectations. We're trapped in a cycle we know is destroying us. And unlike your 401k contributions, you cannot catch up on lost compound growth. There's no do-over button. Let me give you a quick example. $70,000 at age 64, if you left it invested at a conservative 7% annual return for 10 years, becomes $137. That's $67,000 in free growth you just handed away. Money that could have covered your health care, your long-term care, your basic dignity in your 80s. Now, you might be thinking, but it's different for my kid. The housing market really is impossible. And you're half right. The housing market is brutal. That's true. But let's be honest about what's really happening here, because 3 myths are driving this decision, and all three of them are destroying retirements across America. Myth number one: if I don't help, my kids will never own a home. Here's the reality: your kids have 30 to 40 years of earning potential ahead of them. You have zero years of earning potential to rebuild your retirement savings. Your adult child can save longer, get creative with housing options like a starter home in a different area or living with roommates, or work on increasing their income. They have time and options. You cannot get a loan for retirement. There is no 401k do-over. The bank doesn't care that you were a good parent. Myth number two: it's my money, I earned it, I can do what I want with it. Legally? Yes, you're absolutely right. But let's talk about the emotional reality. When you run out of money at 78, who are you going to turn to? Your kids. You're not a bad parent for thinking this through. You're not solving their problem by giving them this money. You're delaying your own financial crisis and potentially creating a much bigger one down the road. Here's a data point that should make you pause. 62% of adult children who received major parental financial help for housing later faced pressure to financially support those same parents. You're not freeing them. You're setting up a boomerang effect. Myth number three: my parents helped me, so I should help my kids. I hear this constantly, and I understand it. But the economic reality has shifted so dramatically that this comparison doesn't hold up. In 1985, the median home price was about 2.5 times the median household income. Today, it's 5 to 7 times. Yes, housing is harder. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Your parents also had pensions. You don't. Your parents often had single-income households with a stay-at-home spouse managing the family finances and cutting costs. You don't. The entire generational contract changed. The rules are different now. We have to adapt. Here's what nobody tells you. Helping your kids and destroying your retirement are not opposite choices. They can both be true at the same time. The most loving thing you can do for your children is not become their financial burden in 10 to 15 years. Teaching them financial resilience is a gift that lasts their entire lives. Financial rescue is just a band-aid that prevents the growth they actually need. So what's the alternative? I'm going to walk you through 5 specific boundaries that protect both your retirement and your relationship with your kids. These boundaries aren't about being cruel or withholding love. These are about being the adult in the room who understands long-term consequences when emotions are running high. Here's what's coming. Boundary number 5 is the specific dollar amount you can safely give, with an actual formula you can use tonight. Boundary number 4 is the exact conversation script that stops the guilt before it starts. Boundary number 3 is the alternative help that costs you absolutely nothing but gives them real value. Boundary number 2 is the legal protection that most parents completely skip, and it causes massive family destruction later. And boundary number 1, it's the single sentence that changes everything. Each of these boundaries comes with exact language you can use, research that backs it up, and real-world examples of families who've done this successfully. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete blueprint for the conversation you need to have before any money changes hands. Here's what I want you to know about boundary number 1. It's so simple that most people can't believe it actually works. But data from over 800 families shows it protects relationships better than saying yes ever could. It's counterintuitive. It feels uncomfortable at first, and it might be the most important sentence you ever say to your adult child. But before we dive in, I need to know something. Have you already given money to your adult children for a house? Or are you feeling pressure to do it right now? What's the biggest guilt or fear you're facing around this decision? Look, we read every single comment, and I can tell you this. You are not alone. Thousands of parents in this channel community are wrestling with the same question, the same guilt, the same fear that saying no makes you a bad parent. Drop your age, your situation, and what's holding you back in the comments below. You might find someone else going through the same thing, and that connection alone can help. Sometimes, just knowing you're not the only one facing this is enough to give you the strength to set a boundary. And if this video challenges something you previously believed, that's good. That means you're thinking critically. Stay with me. All right, let's get into the 5 boundaries. Starting with number 5. Boundary number 5. The safe gift formula. Never give more than 5% of your liquid retirement assets, and only if you're already maxing out your retirement contributions for that year. Here's how to do it. Calculate your total liquid retirement savings. That's your 401k, IRA, and taxable investment accounts. Multiply by 0.05. If you have $600,000 in retirement, your maximum gift is $30,000, but only if you've maxed out retirement contributions that year. Here's the crucial part. If your child needs more than this 5% amount, that's a sign they're not financially ready for homeownership yet. The house can wait. The data backs this up. 94% of retirees who followed the 5% rule maintained their original retirement timeline, versus only 31% who gave more than 10%. Common mistake. Don't include home equity in this calculation. That's not liquid, and you'll need it. Boundary number 4. The pre-conversation script. Have this conversation before your child even asks for money. Proactive boundaries prevent guilt-based decisions. Here's the script. Child's name. I want to talk about something important. We're so proud of you. As you're thinking about buying a house, I want to be clear about our financial boundaries. We've worked hard to make sure we won't be a burden to you in retirement. That means we can't provide down payment help, but what we can do is offer other kinds of support. This isn't about your worthiness or our love. This is about protecting both our futures. Have this conversation at a neutral time, not when they're house hunting or stressed. Families who set boundaries proactively report 73% less resentment and conflict. Boundary number 3. The zero-cost alternative help. Offer strategic support that costs you time, not money. Help them create a budget and savings plan. Review their mortgage documents. Connect them with your financial advisor for one consultation. Research first-time homebuyer programs and down payment assistance. Help them find a buyer's agent. Offer childcare so they can pick up extra work to save faster. Keep a document of all the resources you research. This tangible effort shows you're invested without writing a check. Adult children who saved for their own down payments had 28% lower default rates and higher confidence in their financial decisions. Now we're getting to the boundaries most people skip. Number 2 and number 1 are game changers. Boundary number 2. The legal protection document. If you give money following the 5% rule, make it a legally documented loan with repayment terms, even if you don't expect repayment. Use a formal promissory note from any estate attorney. Include the amount, interest rate, it can be 0%, repayment schedule, and what happens if they sell. Both parties sign, notarize, and keep copies. Here's why this matters. This protects your other children. Without documentation, this gift creates massive resentment when you pass away. 68% of estate disputes trace back to undocumented transfers. Real scenario. Parents gave $100,000 to their son for a house. Daughter didn't need help. Parents die. Daughter discovers the transfer. Family destroyed. A $200 promissory note would have prevented it. Families who documented transfers as loans reported 84% less sibling conflict over inheritance. Real quick. If this video is giving you clarity, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to share this with other parents who need to hear it. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. We release videos every week, protecting your retirement from hidden threats. We're building a community of people who refuse to let guilt destroy their financial security. All right, boundary number 1. This changes everything. Boundary number 1. The single sentence. When your child asks for money, respond with this. I love you, and my answer is no. Let's talk about other ways I can support you. Why does this work? It's complete. It doesn't apologize, justify, or leave room for negotiation. It affirms love and refuses the request in the same breath. I love you prevents your child from making this about your love or their worth. My answer is no is clear and final. Let's talk about other ways to pivot to those alternatives we just covered. And no justification means no debate. Practice it. Say it out loud 10 times before the conversation. Write it on a note card. Don't add the word because. That's where you lose power. Say the sentence, then silence. If they push back, repeat the exact sentence. Word for word. Boundaries work through consistency, not creativity. Parents who used clear, non-negotiable language reported 89% less ongoing pressure and 76% better long-term relationships. Here's what happens when you actually use these boundaries. This isn't really about houses or money. It's about breaking a cycle of financial codependency that's crushing the boomer generation. Here's what you're really protecting: your dignity. You won't be 80 years old asking your kids for grocery money. Your freedom. Retirement means choices that evaporate when you're broke. Your legacy. The greatest gift you can give your kids is not becoming their financial burden. Your relationship. Resentment grows when you sacrifice your security and they don't see the cost. Picture this: 10 years from now, your child owns a house. They figured it out. You're financially secure. You can help with grandkids' activities, take family vacations, and be present without constant financial anxiety. Your child respects your boundaries because you modeled healthy financial behavior. Here's the uncomfortable truth: your adult child's housing situation is not your emergency. Urgency and emergency are not the same thing. If your child cannot afford a house without your retirement savings, they cannot afford the house. Full stop. Helping them skip financial readiness steps doesn't protect them. It delays lessons they need to learn. In Scandinavian countries, adult children are expected to be financially independent by 25. Parents who overhelp are seen as preventing growth. This isn't coldness. It's a different definition of love. Love that respects adult capability. American culture conflates love with rescue, but rescue prevents resilience. The real gift is teaching them they're capable of solving their own problems. So where do you go from here? If you haven't given money yet, have that boundary conversation this week, not next month, this week. If you've already given money, don't spiral into regret. Adjust your retirement plan now with a financial advisor. Run the actual numbers. You might be okay, or you might need to delay retirement 2 or 3 years. But knowing is better than hoping. If you're feeling guilty right now, that's normal. Guilt means you care. But guilt is not a financial strategy. I want to hear from you. Which boundary will you put in place first? Or if you've already set boundaries with your adult children, what language worked for you? Drop your story in the comments. You'll help someone else who's struggling with the same decision. You are not a bad parent for protecting your retirement. You're not selfish. You're not cold. You're an adult who understands that the greatest burden you can place on your children is becoming their financial responsibility when you're 75. Protect your future. They'll thank you later. We'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.